Let's take a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. A deadly plane crash in Galveston Bay now being investigated by the National Transportation Safety Board. Authorities say a medical flight from Merida, Mexico went down Monday afternoon with 8 people on board. Happened about 3:15 in the afternoon in the West Bay as the plane approached Skulls Airport in dense fog. According to the Mexican consulate, 3 Mexican Navy personnel were found dead Monday. The body of a 4th Navy lieutenant was found Tuesday evening. There were also the patient, a 2-year-old boy, and a doctor. Both died. The child's companion, presumably a relative, and a nurse survived. Matt Doherty spoke to a man who jumped into action.
We were out for a boat ride and we heard that there was a plane crash, so we thought we'd try to go find it and help.
Sky Decker lives about a mile from where the plane crashed.
And we were told that the police didn't have any boats available to use, so we were like, let's go see what we can do.
Along with Decker, his 11-year-old son, Sky Jr., and his neighbor Owen, it was his boat.
When I saw the wreckage, I couldn't imagine that there'd be anybody alive in there.
Hey, she's still alive in here!
But there was someone alive. A woman trapped between the seats and wreckage, breathing a small pocket of air.
Both of her legs were broken, and she was asking about the baby, but I didn't know about the baby. So
the 2-year-old baby did not make it, along with 4 others who were killed in the crash.
Just hang on a minute.
The incredible video of the rescues was taken by Sky Jr.
It was kind of hard to see my dad pull out the guy that was already deceased. But I think my main goal was just try to get some footage to maybe help out the cops.
It's too early to say what exactly caused the crash, but an obvious starting place would be the foggy conditions throughout the day.
I would say there was no more than 100 foot of visibility or something like that.
And that's unusual, right?
Yes.
It is.
I've been out here 20 years, and it's not very often that I see it this foggy.
Search and rescue efforts ended once it got dark. What are y'all going to be thinking when we go to bed tonight? I mean, this is pretty wild.
I don't think it's really hit me. Like I say, it just doesn't seem real. I'm like, did that really just happen today? It's crazy.
Without these neighbors' willingness to help and a boat, this crash could have easily had no survivors at all.
Rushing in to save folks. That was Matt Doherty reporting. We're learning new information about a deadly wrong-way crash that killed 3 family members. A 3-year-old boy was the only survivor. He continues to fight for his life as charges against the other driver is pending. The crash happened early Saturday morning along the Grand Parkway in the Pecan Grove area of Fort Bend County. Jason Miles with the latest.
Investigators believe the alleged wrong-way driver in this case was under the influence of alcohol. She's still in the hospital, but not as seriously injured as the 3-year-old who lost 3 family members. Christmas decorations are outside the home of the Pena family near Katy, but the joy of this season was shattered early Saturday morning. That's when the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office says a 28-year-old woman traveling the wrong way in the northbound lanes of the Grand Parkway near FM 1464 struck the Pena family's SUV. We're told 27-year-old Elizabeth Contreras and 5-year-old daughter Camila Pena died on the scene, while 26-year-old Diego Pena died at a hospital. The couple's 3-year-old son, who we're blurring to protect his privacy, was critically injured. Relatives shared an online fundraiser with us, which includes several photos. They say the family was headed home from a holiday party.
Because they were so family oriented. They took care of their kids. They work. He was home as soon as he got off work. He will be here with his family.
Neighbor Alida Berganza is still trying to comprehend the tragedy and prays for the little boy.
I know he doesn't have an easy road ahead of him. But I want him to know that we're here for them. We're here to support their family.
The sheriff's office says alcohol is believed to have been a factor in the crash and charges are pending. Meanwhile, the Fort Bend County Toll Road Authority says there are wrong way and do not enter signs to help alert drivers going in the wrong direction, as well as red reflectors on ramps that you should see if going against traffic. Relatives of the Pena family were not ready to speak on camera, but they tell me the little boy has a surgery scheduled for tomorrow. Meanwhile, authorities urge you to plan ahead if you drink during the holidays, have a designated driver, or use a rideshare service. Along the Grand Parkway, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
We've been reporting on the number of bodies that have been found in Houston bayous. Now Houston police are investigating after 2 more bodies were found in the city's bayous Monday morning. The first was spotted in Buffalo Bayou near downtown, close to Ruiz and Crawford Streets. Then just minutes later, police reported another body found in Brays Bayou, this time along Old Spanish Trail near MLK Boulevard. Here's a look at both scenes. Police and dive teams were on site working to recover the bodies. Officials say the body found in Brays Bayou was in an advanced state of decomposition. Details about the Buffalo Bayou case not been released. So far, investigators have not confirmed whether these cases are connected. Just last week, the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences released a dashboard tracking the number of bodies recovered since 2017. This year alone, 33 bodies have been recovered. Now, you add that with 2024, the total the past 2 years now up to 68 bodies, making them the deadliest years on record. You can see the entire list on our website, khou.com. We have uncovered a new development in the case of a former sheriff's deputy who is charged with killing his wife. Newly released court documents show LaMarcus Smith is accused of tampering with his mistress's husband's life insurance policy. According to court documents, Smith used the man's birthday, social security number, and other identifying information to alter that policy. We spoke to the husband, Jamal Walker, who told us a letter in the mail from his insurance company helped him uncover what was happening. Court documents show months after the attempted fraud, the suspect's wife was killed.
I guess it was a sense of relief, I was paranoid, of course, hearing that, my life was in jeopardy at one point. And then also just, my main focus was to make sure my kids were safe, my daughter and my son.
It is not clear right now what charges the suspect's mistress will face. Smith still being held in the Fort Payne County Jail, charged with his wife's murder. That is a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
I'm Chris Lawrence with your headlines from North Texas. A high school football player has bonded out of jail after being accused of shooting his teammate hours after South Oak Cliff won the state championship game. Take a look at number 28 on your screen. That's 18-year-old Xavier Mayfield helping the Golden Bears win the title. He was arrested hours after Saturday's game and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. According to the arrest affidavit, Mayfield admitted to shooting a teammate in the neck with a rifle, but sources say it appeared to be unintentional. He was booked into the Dallas County Jail on a $50,000 bond, but again is now free to go home. Porch pirates hit a higher percentage of homes in Texas than just about any state in the country. And as Adriana D'Alba reports, new video from Dallas shows thieves making off with a family heirloom.
Doorbell video from this home in Lake Highlands shows 2 people walk up to the front patio. No hesitation. They lift an entire outdoor sofa and take off with it.
In less than 20 seconds, they grab a couch.
This happened Monday morning at 2:30 a.m. along Brentgate Drive.
Yes, they were fast.
Carlos Tapia lives across the street.
It's very frustrating to see that the porch pirates are doing what they are doing.
The homeowner reported the theft to Dallas police. And this wasn't the only home targeted. Images from another neighbor show what appears to be that same porch pirate taking off with someone else's goods. Video from another home shows someone who appears to be the same person swiping packages from a different porch.
It is sad that people see the opportunity for a fast buck.
And as Christmas gets closer, Matt Saylor, CEO of home security company IC Realtime, says thieves see opportunity.
With the lack of oversight and a little bit of leniency from law enforcement requirements, they just feel empowered to take what they wish.
According to Safewise, a home security website, Texas ranked number 3 for front door package theft in 2025. That's more than $1 billion in lost goods. Saylor recommends new active deterrent technology, cameras that trigger strobing lights, and audible notifications that you're being recorded. Video from his office shows the technology in action, and it worked.
It's a crime of opportunity.
Back in Lake Highlands, the loss goes beyond furniture. The couch can be replaced,
but not the blanket.
The family heirloom also taken, a blanket handmade from college. They are asking for just one thing, for it to be returned. In Dallas, I'm Adriana D'Alba.
A grass fire quickly spread to buildings and vehicles in Arlington, triggering a large response from firefighters. It destroyed an auto shop that's been around for years, and the owner told Scoop Jefferson the timing couldn't be worse.
Arlington resident James Major recorded this video as firefighters responded to calls about a grass fire. But the flames are from Ansar Lakhani's family-owned auto repair shop. His brother notified by telephone.
He got a call from the landlord and he told there is a fire in your workshop.
More videos show firefighters found flames and heavy smoke billowing into the air Monday night around 10:30, a 3-alarm fire that required more manpower. The fire raced through the auto repair bays. Everything burned, charred, damage from the floor to the roof.
Damage, there is a big damage because not only workshop damage, but the jobs of the people. 10 people are working with us, for the last 9 years, and we are like a family.
Like family because most of the employees here since opening in 2016. Vehicles parked inside repair bays destroyed. Customers' cars parked outside not damaged. The owners now asking other mechanic shops for space to complete repairs on cars still fixable.
To fix the cars, that's very important for us, to hand over the customers' cars.
Thankful no one got injured in the fire, the owners are concerned about their mechanics whose tools are destroyed or damaged, and the timing couldn't be worse.
End of the year, Christmas time, New Year time, everybody said, this all our staff, they are said, what to do. And we told, now you go, we are waiting for the insurance company.
As the auto shop owners wait to see what insurance will cover, they are anxious to learn from investigators exactly how the fire started. In Arlington, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
A family is desperately trying to find the person responsible for killing their father, and there's a new reward to identify the driver in a deadly hit and run. Luke Clary gives us some new insight on the case after an 18-wheeler slammed into her father's car on the Dallas North Tollway.
The $100,000 reward for information regarding a deadly hit and run in Plano, Texas.
For information leading to the arrest and felony conviction of the driver of an 18-wheeler.
The new headline bringing life to a story that's still unfinished.
This 18-wheeler was traveling northbound on the Dallas North Tollway near Spring Creek Parkway in Plano.
Lama Quiroz and her family desperate to know who was driving the truck that caused a crash on the Dallas North Tollway on October 21st and left the scene in Plano where her dad, Juan Quiroz, died. He was on his way to work.
Just a father, a caretaker, a protector, someone who always worked and fought for the people he cared about.
What exactly happened here is unclear. We've requested video from the NTTA, but DPS, which is leading the investigation, said it could not release additional video due to the ongoing criminal investigation. These are the only images released by authorities so far, now plastered on the Bison Law Firm's wanted sign.
To get some answers for this family, some closure. Who did this? Why did it occur? And why is nobody coming forward and taking responsibility for what happened to this family?
This new reward, does it give you hope that you'll get an answer?
Yeah, hopefully we can hear some answers soon.
The reward is on the table, but for this family, the answers they're waiting for are still out of reach.
If anyone out there has any information to offer about what happened to my dad, please speak up.
In Dallas, I'm Luke Clary.
If a grocery store loses the ability to let customers check out, well, it's a major problem. But one H-E-B turned it into a moment that went viral. It happened at the store in Burleson, and Natalie Haddad spoke to one shopper who still can't believe her good fortune.
It started as a routine grocery run, the kind millions of Texans make every week. But inside this Burleson H-E-B, something wasn't working.
All right, guys.
Registers
H-E-B,
down, lines backing up, shoppers waiting and wondering whether they'd have to leave empty-handed.
H-E-B, we love having you as our customers. Thank you for waiting with us.
But then came the surprise. Instead of turning customers away,
So today, everything that you have, we are going to back you up, and we hope every one of you have a very Merry Christmas.
H-E-B employees told them to take their groceries home for free. Carts full,
Thank you so
no charge.
There's probably about 1,000 people in the store, at least.
Among them, Melinda Brown. She lives on a fixed income, caring full-time for her husband. And this week, she's preparing for family dinner at Christmas.
I had probably about 4 or 5 bags full of stuff because I've got grandkids coming.
So when Melinda heard those words at checkout,
bagging them and you tell them Merry Christmas.
She says it felt like more than good timing.
Made a difference to me because my husband has ALS. He's bedridden and we're struggling. Everybody on a fixed income is struggling right now.
We reached out to H-E-B and simply asked why. And they told us the customer experience is at the heart of what they do.
This is what Christmas is all about. So thank you very much.
No paperwork, no questions, just a moment of relief at a time when Melinda says relief is hard to come by.
Thank you so much.
For her, it was a reminder that kindness can show up when you least expect it.
And that's my H-E-B.
Right at the checkout line. In Burleson, I'm Natalie Haddad.
Wow, what a blessing for Melinda and H-E-B. Wow, I mean, that was tens of thousands of dollars worth of groceries right there. And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier. As we are winding up the week for Christmas, well, you know what? We're looking at some record-breaking heat. Yeah, especially out toward West Texas. We're certainly looking at that out here. So today, it's going to be a pretty warm Christmas Eve. Lots of 70s and 80s across much of the state, but you're also seeing a lot more fog around the area too. We're getting plenty of moisture getting pulled off right from the Gulf. That is bringing cloud cover and fog to Corpus Christi, to Lubbock. I'm even looking at Midland, seeing some of that early morning fog. As we head into Christmas Day, we're looking at some of that record-breaking heat. Still a lot of those 80s, upper 70s. It's pretty widespread across much of the Lone Star State. We're also going to be staying above average as we push a little bit closer toward the weekend. It's not until really next week, by Sunday, that's when we start to see a noticeable drop in temperatures, thanks in part to a decently strong cold front. I know it's been a while since we've seen that. So let's look at West Texas. Lubbock, Midland, starting off with that early morning fog, heating up to those records just in time for Christmas. Central Texas kind of staying steady, but steadily warm, with Friday being even hotter. South Texas in the same boat, lots of those 80s. Too many 80s for comfort. Laredo closing in on that 90-degree marker. North Texas actually not too bad. We're still a lot of these 80s though. This is not uncomfortable by any means. It's just a little bit weird is the better way to explain it. The Valley, McAllen, Brownsville, Mission, all the way from 85 to about 88 degrees for the rest of the week. So just toasty temperatures all throughout your Christmas Eve. Does Santa need a coat? Well, I don't think so, at least not across Texas. For much of today, lots of those 70s, a few 80s popping up here and there from Houston to Corpus Christi to Austin. Noticeably warmer, especially out toward the Panhandle and West Texas for Christmas Day. Lubbock at 82, Abilene at 83, Houston and Corpus Christi at 83 as well. That heat becomes a little bit more centralized as we head toward Friday, the day after Christmas. A lot of those mid-80s from Abilene at 85 to Killeen at 84. Wow, certainly a toasty one. All right, future track. Are we looking at any of these rain chances? If I do see any kind of rain, it's going to be very minimal, just little dots here and there, very low confidence, maybe 10% chance of those sprinkles. Overall, that's not going to do a whole lot for us. All right, here we go, in toward Christmas Day. All right, Thursday morning, what's Santa going to be dealing with? Maybe some of that early morning fog, especially along the Gulf region and even out toward West Texas. Lots of cloud cover, maybe a quick isolated sprinkle. No severe weather is projected. I don't even have thunderstorms in the forecast. And I think we can all agree that that's certainly some good news. Pushing into Friday, evening, not seeing a whole lot going on here. Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, okay, maybe some sea breeze storms from Houston all the way up, closing in on Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay, maybe Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, that's going to be our cold front day. There's those rain chances. They look to be kind of avoiding much of West Texas, so not going to see a whole lot of that positive rain, but northerly winds already mean almost a guaranteed cool down across the state. But before we get into those temperatures of what we're kind of expecting, how much rain, if we get anything, is going to fall? It's going to be just little trace amounts here and there. Looks like much of Texas is kind of in a dry spell. You can even see that. New Mexico, Oklahoma, all in the exact same boat. All right, let's look beyond just a little bit more, closing in on the end of 2025. It's going to be a little warm, okay? We're used to that, but it's also going to be a little bit of those better rain chances, mainly out toward West Texas, right along the Rio Grande. You know what? We will take whatever we can. This is the most drought-ridden part of the state anyway. If we can get some rainfall, I think no matter where we are, it will be appreciated. But notice that drastic drop, mainly Sunday into Monday. Now, it's going to vary depending on your location. Amarillo is going to get the brunt of it first. They usually do when it comes to these large-scale systems, dropping down into the 40s for the highs on Sunday with a bit of that chilly breeze too. Lubbock, Midland seeing that breezy conditions as well, all dropping down into the 50s and 60s by Monday, slowly beginning that warm up as we come toward the beginning of 2026 by the middle of next week. It's just something in the meantime we'll be keeping our eyes on. So stay safe and have a great Christmas week.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. The man who was shot during a domestic violence confrontation has now posted bond and is charged with 2 misdemeanors. The shootout involved a police officer and happened at a busy Southside intersection. Sue Kalberg has the latest.
Neighbors here on Ann Arbor say this is where the trouble started Saturday when a disgruntled ex took out his frustrations on this truck, bashing in the windshield.
It's either a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend of the complainant is breaking the windows out in her vehicle.
McManus said when the woman tried to escape from the scene with a co-worker who gave her a ride, 23-year-old Eric Campos followed them across the south side. And the parties ended up at one of the busiest intersections in the city, across from lots of holiday shoppers at South Park Mall, at the corner of I-35 and Southwest Military.
And this is what we're unsure of. The ex-boyfriend rams the vehicle of the co-worker. And at that point, there's gunfire.
The preliminary report says to stop the attack, the woman's co-worker shot at Campos, and so did a police officer who happened to witness the conflict, who also fired a round. They're not sure whose round hit Campos in the shoulder, but he was rushed to the hospital where he was charged by proxy with 2 misdemeanors, deadly conduct and criminal mischief. His bonds totaled $50,000, which online records show he posted the very next day. Jail records show him still hospitalized, but he would be free upon release with special conditions like full house arrest with a GPS monitor and a no-contact order for the victim. From the outset, Chief McManus said the information was preliminary and this is a complicated case. It seems that remains so. In South San Antonio, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
1 month after a deadly crash along I-10, a UTSA student and military veteran is being remembered. Megan Reyna spoke to his mother and shares why she's still waiting to lay her son to rest.
Daryl Owens had already accomplished so much at 26 years old. He was an Army veteran who had enlisted out of high school. Most recently, he was finishing up his degree at UTSA studying psychology, but his dreams were cut short on November 5th.
He was due to graduate December the 15th.
Police say that day Daryl was in a single car crash off I-10. His vehicle went off the road and into a grassy area. Police say he then got out and started to cross the highway, but was struck by a driver in an SUV. Daryl died at the scene. That driver who hit him stayed and cooperated with investigators.
It's hard. I cry a whole lot.
When his mother, Kiana Owens, got a phone call about the crash, she rushed to San Antonio from Indianapolis and met with detectives and eventually that driver.
At first, I was real angry. He broke down crying because he also said it was 2 days before his 22nd birthday. And he said, "Ma'am, I see your son all the time."
In that moment, she says she had to forgive him and give him a hug. Now she's trying her best to honor her son, who she says is a man who loved to give back. She says he lived a life full of purpose and joy.
Oh my goodness, he just beautiful person inside and out. Just beautiful.
Megan Reyna, KENS 5.
Now, there are no criminal charges in this case. The family was able to raise money to have his body returned home to Indianapolis, but they still need to raise money for the funeral itself. If you would like to help, we have information on our website, kens5.com. The fight to keep the rainbow crosswalk continues. The state has mandated the removal of the symbol from San Antonio streets. But Pride San Antonio says they're not done fighting for the visible representation. Rania Kaur explains what's next.
Despite the city not receiving a mandate from the state on when it needs to remove these crosswalks, Pride San Antonio says they're not going to go without a fight, even considering potential legal action. Every few weeks, a cleaner comes to maintain the rainbow crosswalks, making them vibrant once again. For James Poindexter with Pride San Antonio, the crosswalks are an integral part of the neighborhood and the city.
We believe that the city is well within its boundaries to stand up and legally fight for this. And if the city is not willing to do it, then the community is working out ways that we can, stand up and legally fight for this. Because there's no legal nexus between Governor Abbott's threat.
This all started after Governor Abbott called on TxDOT to remove what he calls political ideology from Texas roads. The city filed an appeal with TxDOT that was eventually rejected. Poindexter doesn't understand why the city won't fight harder.
The city needs to take up the mantle and defend because it wasn't just the community that installed these. The city installed them as well. So the city should be willing to stand up and defend their work, but they're not doing it.
We'll keep you updated on what happens next. From the Pride Cultural Heritage District, Rania Kaur, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
Here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Tia Johnson. The Texas Railroad Commission is taking the next step on a major ExxonMobil project planned for Jefferson County. The road CCS project would sit about 15 miles southwest of Beaumont. ExxonMobil plans to inject carbon dioxide deep underground there. The agency has scheduled a public pre-hearing conference in Austin for January. Family and friends came together Monday to say a final goodbye to a legendary Southeast Texas coach. Funeral services for Dan Hooks were held at the West Orange Cove Event Center. The service was filled with emotion, tears from family, mourning a tremendous loss, and laughter from colleagues sharing stories of Coach Hooks's quick wit. It was also filled with love from everyone who came to honor his legacy. That legacy will be remembered for years to come.
Kids that come through here, his legacy will always be remembered because it's important that they know who he is, because I don't think any of these things would be possible without him.
Over the course of his career, Hooks led the Mustangs to 17 district titles and 2 state championship victories in 1986 and 87. Well, the city of Orange has finished installing flood gauges in flood-prone areas. These gauges are early warning tools which help to improve flood prediction and emergency planning. The project was made possible with the help of funding from Lamar University. 12 News reporter Spencer Plato spoke with city leaders who say the new gauges won't stop the rise of water, but they will alert neighbors when it becomes high.
It just kept raining and raining and raining. And, the water kept coming up.
For Rita Monson and many other Orange residents, flooding is something they are too familiar with.
Came all the way up to the bottom of our trailer. We lost both vehicles due to the flood, and we had, parked them on the highest ground that we had, but it wasn't good enough.
Stories like Monson's is why the city has installed 20 flood gauges with help from Lamar University.
We wanted to be able to know when the water's rising. Of course, we can't stop the water from rising, but if we could at least notify the people that the river's rising, the bayous are rising, the gullies are rising, then they can make an informed decision as to whether or not they want to stay or they wanted to leave.
Marvin Benoit says the drainage district is always looking for long-term solutions, but he says the flood gauges are installed where they're needed most.
We've installed them based on FEMA flood maps, those places that are most likely to flood. So we've got them here at the river, we've located them on the bayous, we've located them on the gullies, and in those neighborhoods that are most likely to flood first.
Each sign has a QR code to help alert the community.
Take a picture of the sign and the elevation of the water, it'll upload into the software, and then others can see how the water's rising. So this can be done by a citizen, this could be done by the police as they're making their patrols, streets and drainage, anyone can actually take the picture and help out the community.
For Monson, preparation is key.
If you wait until there's a storm in the Gulf, you've waited too late. You've got to be prepared ahead of time. And the city is taking all kinds of steps in order to help the citizens get there and get ready and get prepared.
That was Spencer Plato reporting, and those were the headlines from Southeast Texas.
I'm Bill Churchwell in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening right here in South Texas. With Christmas just hours away, the countdown is on. Shoppers are making a last-minute dash to one of the busiest spots in town, La Palmera Mall. Our Alexis Green takes us inside the holiday rush.
That's right. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and here at La Palmera Mall, Santa's elves were hard at work crossing off some of those last-minute Christmas lists.
Merry Christmas!
Whether shoppers were snapping a selfie with Santa, grabbing a bite in the food court, or shopping until they dropped, there was no shortage of holiday spirit inside of La Palmera Mall.
It is not as busy as I expected.
People probably winding down. Everybody mostly got their shopping done. I'm one of the last-minute guys, so.
And he's not alone. Doors stayed busy with shoppers all racing the clock, proving that last minute doesn't mean less meaningful. With crowds starting to pick up, mall officials say extra security is in place to help keep shoppers and their finds safe.
We've been busy, so finally we had a few days, and now it's like almost to the days.
I was working all the way up until 2 days ago, so this is the first time I'm able to really get out and get some final things. Everything else I got online.
According to the National Retail Federation, holiday sales are expected to surpass $1 trillion for the first time ever. Their latest survey showing consumers plan to spend about $890 per person on holiday gifts, food, and decorations. But last-minute shoppers say there is a method to their madness.
Just whenever you get in here, you just know where you're going. That's what I would say. If you know where you're going, then you're able to get there, just get through the crowds and stuff, then you'll be out in enough time.
I think it's died down from past years, so probably lots of online shopping. So definitely get in here if you need to get in some of those last-minute gifts.
Remember, there still is time to get out here at La Palmera Mall. They are open until 10 tonight, but on Christmas Eve, those hours cut back to 6 p.m. and they are closed Christmas Day. Reporting for 3 News, I'm Lexis Green.
And while the holidays can be merry and bright, for many, grief, financial stress, and mental health struggles can make the season feel heavy. Our Natalia Osuna spoke with local doctors and health experts about ways to navigate the holidays during difficult times.
With 2 kids in high school, Jason and his wife are making an effort to make this holiday season special.
We don't have too much time left with them being with us, so we're trying to make it special.
But for some folks navigating financial stress, loss, and mental health issues, the holidays can be a difficult time.
The economy, I feel like, is getting a little bit better, even though we're going through tough times all across the country. I give praise out to those people who are going through those times.
During these times, there's often a lot of pressure to both be present around family, to take time off, to spend money, to sometimes be merry when you don't exactly feel that way.
Dr. John Lucens at Corpus Christi Medical Center in Bayview says he often sees folks experiencing the holiday blues from Thanksgiving to even past New Year's.
Studies show that about 65% of people feel that financial stress. People stretching out their credit cards, taking on more of those payday loans, or else making decisions that they shouldn't be making, when instead perhaps just a call and some time with loved ones is the present that people need.
And how can you support a loved one who's experienced a loss?
Maybe we're missing dad, maybe we're missing mom this year, maybe things have changed over the course of the year, and give them some grace, give them time, and it's better to listen than it is to give advice.
Heather Loeb with NAMI Greater Corpus Christi says she's developed some ways to communicate with her family.
I have depression, I have anxiety, and when I start to get anxious, I communicate with them. I'm like, hey, I'm starting to get anxious, I need a break. Or, if I'm feeling depressed, I say, hey, I'm going to go lay down. And if you are struggling, it's okay to reach out.
Meanwhile, Jason and his family are encouraging the community this holiday season.
It's what you make of it. If you look for negativity, there is negativity. If you look for positive, there's positive. So we try to look for the best.
Some good advice there from Corpus Christi. That's a quick look at some of what's happening in South Texas.
In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. Governor Greg Abbott says Texas needs to have a new top prosecutor position. It is a role he says should be focused on taking cases that local district attorneys either do not or will not prosecute. This includes Travis County's DA, Jose Garza. KVU's Daniel Perot has more on what the governor is calling for and why he says the state needs to step in.
Governor Greg Abbott says Texas needs a chief statewide prosecutor to rein in what he says are rogue DAs.
It's pretty much already a fait accompli that there is a statewide prosecutor.
Retired Travis County judge and current criminal defense lawyer Charlie Baird says the Attorney General already has broad statewide authority. In Texas, it's generally up to local district attorneys to decide which cases to prosecute and which cases to bring to trial.
As a general rule, the Attorney General's office has to be asked to get involved on a prosecution.
In a social media post, Abbott said progressive DAs are literally leading to the murder of Texans. Those DAs must be held accountable and prosecutorial power must be shifted to actual prosecutors. That post was in response to one about Michael Najee, who does not face a murder charge, but Travis County court records show he's faced 30-plus charges since 2019, ranging from misdemeanors for criminal trespass to felonies for things like aggravated assault and burglary. The governor's office argues the DA's office has not done enough to pursue charges against him in recent years, but Baird says there's more to it than that.
He does not have the knowledge and the wherewithal and the information that the local prosecuting authority does to see why the case was resolved in a certain way.
Baird says other states have a way to intervene in prosecutions, often through the Attorney General's office. But even in those states, he says local prosecutors still have great discretion.
It's not just a question of what the local prosecutor is handling the case. It is more of a question of the overall system and how it impacts everyone.
Texas already has a rogue DA law to remove prosecutors from office for policies or not pursuing certain kind of cases. Last year, an effort to oust Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza using it failed. The new push comes just over a month after Texas voters overwhelmingly approved new bail reform measures in a state with among the highest per capita populations of people in prison.
It's very difficult to understand how Governor Abbott could figure out or say that individuals are not being prosecuted aggressively in Texas.
Baird says adding more layers to the criminal justice system might add more problems.
It's going to complicate things immeasurably and make it more time-consuming and difficult to prosecute these cases to some level of finality that everyone's satisfied with.
And that was Daniel Perot reporting. State lawmakers are not scheduled to return to the state capitol until the 90th regular legislative session, which is slated to begin in January. Austin police released new details on Tuesday afternoon about a family altercation that turned deadly in southwest Austin on Monday. Austin police say a 79-year-old man and his 20-year-old grandson shot each other after a verbal fight escalated. APD says this happened Monday evening at a home on O'Rourke Lane in the Circle C Ranch neighborhood. Both men died at the scene. Court documents are giving us a clearer picture of what led up to a deadly shooting in North Austin last week. Austin police say late on December 17th, officers responded to a call about a man who was shot in the head after a fight with two other men. That shooting happened at a game room located off I-35 near Breaker Lane. Officers found the victim's body in front of the business. Now, according to an arrest affidavit obtained by KVUE, surveillance video shows the suspect, 30-year-old Quavon Easley, leave a different game room nearby before the murder. A witness told officers Easley gave the victim permission to take his bike, who then rode off on it. The affidavit states that Easley went to the other game room looking for him. The witness says he heard Easley and the victim arguing about where his bike was, then heard a gunshot and saw Easley run off. Police arrested Easley on December 18th. He's currently booked in the Travis County Jail on a first-degree murder charge. Hutto Fire Rescue has reached a milestone after approving their first-ever collective bargaining agreement with its unionized firefighters. It comes after voters signed off on a deal to allow negotiations last year. While not all of its staff members are part of the agreement, the fire chief says it impacts everyone. KVUE's Kelsey Sanchez explains.
Here in Hutto, Williamson County ESD 3 Fire Chief Scott Kerwood says the city is exploding with growth.
It's very important because we're a fast-growing community.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, as of 2024, the population was over 42,000. That number will only keep growing, which is why Kerwood said signing a first-of-its-kind contract for firefighters was necessary.
This is something that we have worked towards, and we urge the firefighters to go forward again because we won't always be here, and it provides that stability for them.
The contract was signed last week and is in partnership with the Hutto Professional Firefighters Association, IAFF, Local 4707. It formalizes policies and procedures already in place while clearing the path to establish future decisions. It also includes compensation adjustments, overtime, and benefits.
We really solidified things that we were already doing because I've always run the organization, even though we didn't have a contract. I always ran the organization as if we did have one because I knew at some point we would.
So while these firefighters head out with a new contract under their belt, Kerwood wants to remind everyone of one thing this holiday season.
Check your smoke detectors. Be careful if you're frying a turkey. Do it outside. Don't do it inside. Do not throw your wrapping paper into a fireplace, and just be safe during the holidays.
In Hutto, Kelsey Sanchez, KVUE News.
Austin police say a driver is facing charges after his passenger died in a crash in northeast Austin over the weekend. APD says this crash happened early Saturday morning around 3:30 a.m. Officers responded to the westbound lanes of East Highway 290 near Springdale Road. They say an SUV and a tow truck crashed into each other. Both drivers stayed at the scene, but a woman, a passenger in the SUV, died. The driver, 32-year-old Jordan Atkins, was arrested and charged with intoxication manslaughter. A new mayor has officially taken over in Kyle. Yvonne Flores-Cale won the office in a runoff election earlier this month. She served on Kyle City Council for the past 3 years. Flores-Cale took the oath of office during a special ceremony on Tuesday evening. The small strip mall that housed the iconic Waterloo record store for over 40 years in downtown Austin could soon be demolished. Developers are hoping to turn the space into yet another high-rise building. A demolition permit was just filed on Monday for the site at 6th and North Lamar Boulevard, where businesses like the 24 Diner and Amy's Ice Cream currently operate. KVUE's Jessica Cha spoke with neighbors about what comes next.
Well, according to the building plans, the new development is going to be a 112-foot tall glass building. Now, the president of the association, or Awana, says that they're ultimately sad to see some of these existing businesses go. However, growth is inevitable, and so they are excited to see some change. Now, Steve Amos, president of Awana, says their neighborhood is historical, and so it stretches from Lady Bird Lake to Lamar to Mopac. He says Endeavor, the developers of the new building, have collaborated with them to ensure that the building melds with the older features of the neighborhood, but also embraces modernity. He says growth is inevitable, but they want to grow and make sure people have places to work, live, and shop.
I think that what it's going to do is continue to reinforce how special Old West Austin is. And also it's a reminder of how do we collaborate with neighborhoods and with developers, but also with the city How can the city take a step back and say, wait a minute, how can we refresh some of our historic neighborhood collaborations?
Now, in a letter of support of the rezoning, Awana leaders said that the building was originally supposed to be 143 feet tall, but they worked with developers to get it scaled back to 112 feet with a 62-foot step down on Baylor Street. Now, we did reach out to the developers to ask why they're building a high-rise building here, and we have not yet heard back from them. In Austin, Jessica Cha, KB News.
And those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins. See you next time.
I'm Adrian Carball. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Temple police have arrested an animal service officer, charging her with assaulting causing bodily injury. 38-year-old Emily Rebroker is accused of family violence at a home in Harker Heights. Police from Temple and Harker Heights collaborated on the arrest just before 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Harker Heights issued the arrest warrant, and Temple executed the warrant by the Temple Animal Shelter while she was off duty. Since the Animal Service Department is a branch of TPD, Rebroker is being placed on paid leave while an investigation remains underway. Christmas can be a time of joy and celebration, but for some in our community, the holidays can feel lonely. Our Juliana Jackson shows us the volunteers in Temple who are making sure everyone has a place at the table this Christmas.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas at Feed My Sheep in Temple. They're preparing for one of the most important days of the year.
If you have no family, if you have no place to go, you have nowhere to belong, it just is an extra reminder is I really don't even matter in this world, and that's not the case. That is not the case.
Executive Director Jeff Stiegel says their annual Christmas dinner is about so much more than just ham and turkey.
Christmas meal, more the fellowship and the community that comes with it is more important maybe than the food.
She's my assistant elf.
Debbie Harrison knows that message by heart. For years, she spent her holidays collecting socks, blankets, and toys for those in need.
My children are deceased, so this is how I spend my Christmas gift money. And it's what God told us to do to help those less fortunate. So I just try to put a smile on their face.
And she's not alone. Community members have been stopping by with donations.
It's that time of season, but also it's, we're in a position to do so. So just going in and doing it.
Dinner rolls, coffee, cookies, every donation helps create something bigger than a meal. The invitation extends to everyone. Stiegel says whether you need a meal or just want to be part of something meaningful, there's a seat at the table.
People can come, that they are welcomed here, and that they have worth and dignity because simply they are humans.
Christmas lunch will be served starting at 11:30 a.m. Christmas Day at Feed My Sheep Cafe. They're still accepting donations and are asking for dinner rolls, juice, and hams. But organizers say the best gift anyone can give is simply showing up. Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson is looking to give back to the Waco community this holiday season. That's why he's now partnering with Mission Waco to help give those living on the streets a place to call home. Robertson is raising money from apparel sales to help fund a project called the Creekside Community Village. The village is aimed at helping combat homelessness, particularly for those who are veterans. 25% of all money raised from purchases of Robertson's shirts and hoodies will go directly to the Creekside Heroes Fund. The Christmas travel season is officially upon us, and TxDOT is preparing for congested highways this week. TxDOT has shared a chart to help drivers know what to expect each day this week across the biggest cities in the state. Monday marked the heaviest surge of traffic. TxDOT expects moderate traffic and delays to happen on all other days except for Christmas Day itself, and authorities are reminding travelers to drive sober and be aware of your surroundings. TxDOT reports that in this time last year, Texas saw more than 2,000 drunk driving related crashes. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
I'm Robert De La Garza, and here's a look at what's making headlines across East Texas. Travelers at the Tyler Pounds Regional Airport were greeted Tuesday by some furry friends to bring comfort during the hectic holiday travel season. Their pet volunteers and their dog partners continued the annual tradition of encouraging travelers at the airport. They say the dogs being at the airport brings cheer and stress relief to an often weary travelers.
For those who are arriving to board a plane, sometimes they are worried, sad, stressed to be able to get to their next destination, and these provide a little bit of stress relief and a smile before they leave or when they arrive. It's a wonderful welcome to our community.
Several travelers, young and old, got a few pets in before moving on from the airport. The Therapets also visit schools, libraries, hospitals, and community events to bring joy and love. 3 generations, 1 family, and a national stage. One Sabine High School freshman is headed to California for a special performance. And as CBS 19's Renee Estrada found out, this accomplishment runs in the family.
From the classroom to the Rose Parade, Sabine High School freshman Thomas Hawthorne is headed to Pasadena, California. Hawthorne has been selected to perform with the Bands of America Honor Band in the 2026 Rose Parade. The National Ensemble brings together hundreds of the country's most talented high school musicians for one of the world's most famous parades.
I am only a freshman, and these things happen about every 4 years, and it's just I'm just extremely excited for everything that is to come.
But this accomplishment is more than just personal. It's a family legacy.
I think it's like really cool that the 3 generations of my dad, my grandpa and my dad, we have all done that we are going to do the exact same march.
Thomas's grandfather marched in the 1971 Rose Parade with the White Oak High School Band, and his father, Rance Hawthorne, was part of the very first Bands of America Honor Band in 2005. Now Thomas will become a rare 3rd generation of performers, following in his family's footsteps.
Now I get to see him do it. It's going to be really, really odd, but really, really rewarding, because it's, I felt honored doing it as the 2nd generation after my parents did it. Now he's getting to do it too. It's very surreal, to say the least.
The 137th Rose Parade airs worldwide on New Year's Day, but for this local freshman, it's more than just a performance. It's a dream come true and a family legacy marching forward. Reporting in Liberty City, Renee Estrada, CBS 19.
That's a wrap on your East Texas headlines. I'm Robert De La Garza.